Um, so you're talking about digital spending. This is the product that we have for this, and it's not just Ricky that doesn't always have access to these tools. This is as one of our three offerings that we provide on the software side, like externally to caucuses and campaign committees. This is one that simply doesn't really exist. Facebook, as you folks know, has or may know, has an ads library that they started publicly disclosing all of the ads and political and social on political and social topics that they flagged as such in response to political pressure and what happened in the 2016 election. But they don't give us everything that we could have. A lot of the numbers are obscured, or a little bit vague. And particularly for the use case of tracking spend against, in entities in your area or entities in Florida, or political ones particularly, not just ones that care about other social issues. There's really no good way to do this. And so the idea for this, of course, predates my time here at Tech for Campaigns, but states and campaigns are used to looking at media spend and mostly through the lens of local TV in these cases. And so the model here was to replicate what they were used to looking at from their media buying consultants in local markets. So a weekly report of, what did your competitor spend? What did you spend? But at the digital level, of course, we're a lot more sophisticated than that. There are other entities that are spending money. Again, with Facebook not annotating the data that way, there's really no way to track it. In fact, Jessica actually asked, after demoing this product that I'm about to show you recently, to ask, like, hey, well, of the spenders that we're reporting, and I'll show you that screen that has the spenders, what is anybody missing? And the person at the caucus said literally, we don't know. They do not know who is spending in their markets. And so the purpose of this is to aggregate and annotate that data specifically on Facebook, where a lot of the digital action is happening in elections, and be able to report that. And so that these folks can know if they can dial up or dial down. Every dollar matters. So if there's not a lot of spend going on, maybe they can step it back. That's as important as knowing when the zone is being flooded by somebody with messaging that you need to counteract. So, and of course, Facebook, it's kind of like search engine optimization and everything else. Facebook is not necessarily incentivized to provide you full transparency, and so the annotation is part of what we're going to be doing there. So this product piloted last year in Virginia. Virginia is an off-cycle year in 2019, and it's actually powered by a volunteer team as well. It's a full-stack volunteer team. The 6 of them who are on the project currently are listed there. Abby's the PM. Andrew, Sean, Lida, Max, and Joe, who's recently joined and done a ton of work to help us be able to upload and sort of track the unlabeled spenders that we need to label. So thank you to the 6 of them and a few folks whose names, unfortunately, I don't know, I haven't worked with, who got the thing going in the first place. So all the credit goes to them, and the blame goes to me as the TFC partner here, and I guess Greg too. Greg can share some of the blame for anything that's not working on this thing that I'm about to demo for you. So without further ado, I think I will share my screen and do a couple of screens of demo. So let me see. I'll give you the whole thing here, and I will expand. Is my screen coming through, TJ or Jessica? Anybody else on the,
That's
on the
good.
voice?
Yep. Okay.
Great. Okay. Well, what you're looking at is Florida. It's a Florida day. We'll do Florida today, and but we do support and offer tracking of state level spending in all 50 of our states, and this is what we're looking at. Florida. We'll give you the top 3 spenders. In Virginia, this was a little less dominated, obviously, by huge presidential races. This is kind of what we're going to see. Maybe we'll get a Democratic entity in here every once in a while, but the presidentials and how much they're spending is kind of a reference point for, and a lot of the total spend for each party, which is viewable on a week-to-week basis. And broken down, and this is part of where the annotation comes in, by all of the democratically aligned, not just Senate and House, but all other groups, in the Republicans and then independents as well. And you start to get a sense of this order of magnitude, of course, here when we're talking about the spend. These folks spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in a week, whereas the Senate's spending, 3,000 in the last 4 weeks, and the House is spending 11,000. And then, of course, all the other groups, 1.7 million. So to answer that question about who's spending in the state or in the area, we offer just a list of spenders. And what the spender kind of concept does is aggregates a number of pages in some cases. Some cases it's one-to-one with a Facebook page that's buying ads, but in other cases it's a group of pages that we associate with one pool of money, which is also kind of meaningful for folks who are trying to track who the other actors are, whether they be corporations or PACs or whatever in their neck of the woods. The trending up and down, of course, super important. And sort of seeing who's new to the race that you may need to take a look at. You can also deep dive into anybody you want. So Friends of is a good way of seeing a lot of the election campaigns. Florida, maybe, gun, if you want to see who's got guns, or who's paying for stuff, we'll report that and just a general sense of spend before people get into it. Re-rank and look at trends. So from there, we can go ahead and view a group in detail, and we can start to compare them. And so if I found Carlos Jimenez, for instance, he is a state Senate candidate, I believe, against somebody that we have a relationship with, Debbie McCarsell-Powell, who I already put into this as a comparative spender. But we can add anybody we want here. If we wanted to see what, I don't know, give me another one here. It might be Kaiser Enneking, maybe. She's also somebody that's working in another district than Ricky. We can also see what she's spending and add her to this graph as well. And this allows you to start to compare and contrast and see how the trends go. Debbie's dipping up and Carlos is dipping down in terms of his spend. I believe there was a primary actually for the Republicans recently, right? Which may account for his burst in spend if I'm right about Florida, but that's that could account for this trend, or you'd have to look a little bit deeper. And so to do that, we can deep link right into the Facebook ad library. And this is the page that they have that gives you all the transparent metrics that Facebook offers. And particularly with Debbie, looks like she's taking a page from Ricky's book, I guess, because she's doing a Spanish language campaign right now in terms of things that are active right now, whereas we can look at Carlos and see what he's talking about. And this is something, by the way, that not just state caucuses want to see in terms of where the spend is going in the state or with candidates, but also with the digital ads campaign teams that TFC is reporting, who are responsible for Facebook spend for certain campaigns. And so this allows you a glance at their messaging, and also one nice thing that they have done recently that wasn't here when we built this originally was a little bit more detail in terms of what the reach might be, the impressions, regional delivery. These are keywords. So there's a little bit of additional advanced analytics that digital professionals would know how to do in this case, beyond just looking at the creative. So that's the demo. Thank you, TJ and Jessica, for the time. And hopefully, Ricky, you're excited to go spend some money on Facebook now.